recommend. It's the first sports game I've played so far on the PlayStation 1, and actually the first FIFA game we've played since I started the channel. The 2002 FIFA World Cup in Korea and Japan, and it's a tournament I remember. I don't know if fondly is the right word, but I remember it very well. Of course, most well known for, if you're from England, if you're an England fan, for us bowing out to Brazil on account of Ronaldinho when he lobbed David Seaman. Devastated as I was at the time. I'd have been, let me have a think, 16, 15, I'd have been 15 when the tournament was on. So I remember at high school, the games were very early in the morning, so we're talking like 7 AM, so you'd be able to watch them before school, and school even played a few of them during classes. I remember France losing to Senegal was a big deal at the time, because obviously they were the reigning World Cup champions. So let's have a look. Pretty sure I did have this, but I definitely didn't have it on the PS1. Something in my mind says I might have had it on the GameCube. Look at that squad. Of course, Emil Ivanhoe Heskey up front. I didn't remember Steve McManaman playing for England, but there we go. See who else we've got. I don't remember much of the squad, to be fair. Robbie Fowler, Andy Cole, Nicky Barmby and Darren Anderton. You know, the England squad of the last couple of years is certainly an improvement on what we had back then. One or two fantastic players we had, of course, Paul Scholes and Michael Owen, when he was still fast and not knackered. So we had a fairly decent team, but we just came up against a Brazil side with, of course, Ronaldinho, Ronaldo and Rivaldo, and they did go on to win the tournament. Look at them, the two up front for Sweden, Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Henrik Larsson, and oh my god, look at the shoulders on the players, is the first thing you notice. So let's see how it controls. Very slow paced, and I cannot work out how you actually sprint, which is potentially a problem. I've pressed every button. So the passing's interesting. It's got a little bar that comes up to tell you how hard you're pressing it. FIFA has certainly moved on a long way, that's for sure. There doesn't appear to be a through ball button, which is usually triangle. That's what I tried there. It doesn't seem to work like it does nowadays. So I'm not sure what I've been booked for really there. Something off the ball, Steve McManaman. Graphically, well, it's football, isn't it? It's not that bad. It's very pixelated and very, you know, PS1. The character models are pretty funny nowadays, but back then this would have been a good looking game. You know, the players have got shadows, you've got crowds, obviously that standard crowd that they tended to use on PS1, that flat just texture on a bit of board that moved slightly, that you'd always get on like Colin McRae Rally and stuff as well. But you know, of its time, I think it's really interesting going back to the football and, well, the sports games in general, because that was a bad tackle. Another booking for Rio. Yeah, it's interesting going back to him of that time, because it's almost the biggest showcase of progression. You know, you could obviously go for like any kind of platform game and pull up, you know, Ukulele or the Crash Insane trilogy or Metal Gear Solid, and then show like The Last of Us, or, you know, that the progression we've had. But what have I been sent off for? I don't even know if Steven Gerrard were at that tournament. So there's some kind of off the ball thing that I'm doing that I don't mean to be doing, which isn't great. But yeah, the progression is insane, because I like FIFA. I do play it quite a bit. In fact, I'll stop there. I liked FIFA. FIFA 20 was absolutely appalling. Hopefully FIFA 21, which I will get at the PlayStation 5 launch, assuming it still comes out this year, obviously with the delays that there has been. Sol sent off now. Right. I'm not sure what's going on. Obviously it was a tackle from behind, I'll give that, but I really don't understand how else you're meant to tackle. God, it's so different. Look how slow it moves. It's like 10 frames per second or something. And it's a goal for Sweden. Freddie Ljungberg, ex-Arsenal player. Is there a way back for me? Seeing as I've not been able to do anything except get players sent off, I'm not entirely certain of that. Yeah, it really does show the progression that we've made. Like the speed that you can play FIFA at now is just insane in comparison. What is going on with all the cards? Like I say, there's stuff happening off the ball that I've not even pressed. Certainly not intentionally anyway. I also don't know how to change player, which is usually L1 on modern systems. It's not on this. Maybe when I'm pressing that I'm actually scything players down. Yeah, the lack of any kind of sprint button's a real problem. I'd love to know how that's only a yellow card, because he was clearly the last man and I was through on goal. But we'll let it go. Okay, so what I thought was shoot was actually lob, of course. Even now, this is my fault that on the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, I was very much a Konami football guy, so that was International Superstar Soccer, and then of course the majestic Pro Evolution Soccer on the PlayStation 2. So even now what I do is set my controls on FIFA to be as they were on Pro Evo, because that's just what I used to play. So even now, that's in my mind, that's the right way around. For lob pass should be circle and shoot should be square, whereas FIFA was the opposite. Any Pro Evo fans of the era will know exactly what I'm talking about with that, and how it's still a curse nowadays. It's probably more than just me who refuse to just let their bodies get used to that being the other way around and still stick by the old controls of Pro Evo, which me and a couple of mates of mine would play. Sean and Nick would play that for absolutely hours and hours and hours on ends. We'd even play 45-minute halves and have like 15, 14 end scores and everything. It was just such a great game. And FIFA for me was always the second best once we got to the 32-bit systems. It ruled the roost for me in the 16-bit on the Mega Drive. FIFA 96 was great. I liked Sensible Soccer though as well, to be fair, but I always was a FIFA guy on the 16-bit platforms, but once we got to the 32-bit and onwards, it really nosedived, in my opinion. I didn't think they were good games. But what they did have, which Pro Evo never did, was the licenses and the real names and everything, which they still have now, of course, FIFA. Finding it very difficult to play, have to be honest. Is that going to stay in? Nope. Yeah, it just does not control well at all compared to modern systems, and it's incredibly slow. As you can see, I don't actually know if there is a sprint button. I don't think there is, because if we look at Sweden, they're also not utilising any kind of way of getting ahead of me or anything, which makes it very difficult to make any progress up the pitch, because when you're in possession of the ball, your player is running slower than those who aren't. Giving each other options here. It's funny though, isn't it? Because back then, this would have just been normal and easy. It just feels so hard to play now, and difficult to. I mean, I keep turning on the ball and everything like I would in a FIFA 20, for example. You can't do it here because your character's just not got the pace.
Well, I think I would fancy myself from that position. No foul given, but
Oh dear. Let's not forget I am down to 9 men as well. I'll just defend myself with that because I keep forgetting that is actually the situation. I don't even know why I'm down to 9 men, and how they didn't get someone sent off when they were the last man. Yeah, like I say, I'm pretty sure I had this on the GameCube. That was, for about 18 months, my console of choice, ahead of the PlayStation 2. And then I just sort of ditched it. I loved it in the early days with like Rogue Leader, Luigi's Mansion, Mario Sunshine. Let's make a sub, because Owen is knackered, seemingly. So we'll bring on, of course, Andy Cole, who would go on to play for my team, Burnley, at the end of his career. Yeah, but PS2 was my main console throughout that era, but I dabbled with Xbox as well. And when I say dabbled, that is real. Oh, that's a terrible tackle again. Is that Paul Scholes as well? Oh god, he's off. So I'm down to 8 men. But don't worry, I've got Andy Cole up from. Yeah, PS2 was my main console, but like I said, I dabbled with Xbox and GameCube as well. And pretty certain I had this one on the GameCube. But I remember nothing of the game. They all kind of blend into one, don't they? The FIFA games.
played forward.
The only other tournament games I remember getting were, I think I had France 98 World Cup, that is. I think that might have been on N64 though. Might be wrong. And then of course I had the game that I loved, which I imagine does not stand up at all, which was Euro 96 on the Sega Saturn, which I think was exclusive to the Saturn. And that was a fantastic game at the time. I loved it. I thought it looked unbelievable, because that was my first football game after the Mega Drive FIFA 96, 95. Just giving you a bit of my football history with games.
This FIFA World Cup is just getting into gear, and today it's between
Argentina. Now, I can't remember if we played Sweden at this World Cup, but I'm assuming we must have. It must have the real groups, because we definitely played Argentina and we beat them. It was the David Beckham penalty that made up for when he got sent off, of course, at the World Cup in '98, when he kicked very lightly out at Diego Simeone. So let's see if we can at least get a shot. That'd be nice, because we've barely got into their half, let alone had a shot in the first game. So let's see if we can do a little bit better and not get anyone sent off. That would be ideal. So I've worked out a better way of tackling. If you hold down circle out of possession, the AI just sort of scrambles the ball off the player, which is pretty good, and seems to have worked so far for me. Good, like that from Rio, who at this stage I think was still a Leeds United player. Just to put in perspective how quickly their fall from grace began. It was around this era, of course, when all their money issues kicked in.
Got a little lucky there.
It's weird how playing this is making me want to torture myself and play FIFA 20 on the PlayStation. I really need to just remember how bad it is and just put that to the side, because all it does is annoy me. Thank you for the corner there. Let's see if we can get it to... Does that count as a shot? I'll take it.
That's gone out and a corner the result.
It's very hard to put a score on a game like this, because I know from the gameplay. Oh, that's a terrible touch. It's going to be a red, isn't it?
No doubt about it.
Please don't give me another red.
Going to book him too.
Yeah, it's done. Beckham. What, sent off again against Argentina? Oh, Becks. Jeez. Yeah, it's very hard to score this simply on the basis of, with the passage of time, it's become nigh on unplayable, being honest. But at the time, I'd have loved it, because I did. I loved all these games. I preferred Pro Evo, as I say, but you know, FIFA was still fine in its own way. But in the year 2020, going back to this after getting used to what we have on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, I'm afraid it does not stack up. It's quite funny to play. It's the sort of thing that I'd love to play absolutely hammered with my mates and see if anyone can ever score. But that's really all it is. It's just sort of a novelty at this point. Come on, let's get a goal. Not sure if that were a cross or a shot. We've done better than the first game. That has to be remembered. I don't like the look of this.
That was a mighty fine save. I would love to have another look at that. That's a first shot they've had, John.
I think the more I've played it, the more I would say the graphics are really quite good for the era. It's pretty, you know, it's very clear even now. It's just when you get up close, like the shots of the players when they were walking out with the strange shoulders are pretty funny. But
there's the half-time whistle and
it's alright, isn't it? It's well realised for its age. We're talking about an 18-year-old game here, and the jump that this was over the Mega Drive and Super Nintendo games, it was a lot bigger, in my opinion, than in the 18 years since then that we've got now with the PlayStation 4. I think they did what they could well with the hardware that there was. One of the biggest problems, like I say, is just the speed of it. I don't know if it'd be interesting going back to all the football games on the PS1 to see whether that's just a common thing now, that what seems incredibly slow to play now was just the speed, and we were just used to it. Because I think International Superstar Soccer Pro Evolution, as it were called, I think, on the PS1, before they just dropped the International Superstar Soccer and went to Pro Evolution Soccer on the PlayStation 2. That felt really fast back when we used to play it. Oh, am I going to actually get a shot? Nope, I forgot and lobbed it. Oh my days. Yeah, it felt really fast back then, but it'll be hilarious to go back now. It probably feels just as painfully slow as this does. There's a couple of players that I'm sure played at this tournament that aren't in my squad as well. I'm almost certain that Danny Mills and Trevor Sinclair, for some reason that I really don't know, were at this tournament for us. Danny Mills, God. Possibly Nicky Butt as well. I don't know if I've seen him in the squad, maybe he is.
It's a wonderful sight, isn't it? A player galloping down the pitch with the ball.
So if Danny Mills was in the squad, Gary Neville must have been injured, maybe. Maybe in the build-up to the tournament he got injured. I don't know. It's like it's a tied-on 0-0 because I just cannot get a shot in. Almost did there.
Played away.
It's enthralling to play in a way. It's just so difficult.
A bit lucky there.
Oh, I really wanted to just score one goal. Don't know if I'm going to get the chance before the end of the game.
Save that with ease.
Well, let's be honest. If you shoot from that far out, you really have to produce something special. The keepers get so long to watch the ball's flight.
Here we go. No! What?
Knocked away by the keeper.
I pressed lob again. It still almost went in, to be fair, but...
That's been headed
Right, smash it.
danger.
Oh, tackled.
Oh, that had to hurt.
Oh.
But cut out. Fowler.
It's so difficult to get into the box.
Serene.
So difficult.
Oh, nice ball. Just got it through. Intercepted. But
Right, come on. Through on goal. What was that? That's penalty. We've got a penalty.
what was he thinking? Not a good
Oh my God.
He could be booked.
How's he only got a yellow card? Clearly the last man. Are you kidding me? How is that only a free kick? How?
Can he put it away?
Oh my God.
Touched by the keeper.
How was that a free kick?
They have more players, but
I don't want to sound harsh, but that might impact the final score. I don't understand what just happened. Last couple of minutes of the game, and denied a clear penalty. Well, there we go. That's 2002 FIFA World Cup career, Japan. It's not bad. It's just incredibly difficult to get forward with the ball and get a shot away, let alone score, but it's not bad.